When I look at this war in Israel today, it's a war against good and evil. You can have different thoughts about settlements and what's going on there, but any way you look at it, Israel is a democracy that has a rule of law. My family experienced, a different amount of anti-Semitism when I was growing up in the Soviet Union. My father in the 1950s, who aced math in high school, who tutored other kids in math. He grew up in Moscow. He was not accepted in universities because he failed math, which was ridiculous. So, in fact, the reason my family ended up in Murmansk, which is it's a city located in the northwest part of Russia, above the Arctic Circle. The reason my father ended up there because that's the only school that would take him, Murmansk Marine Academy, because at that time, nobody wanted to go to that forsaken place in the middle of nowhere. So they took him and they did not care that he was Jewish. When I was growing up in Russia, any Jewish person in Russia, the passports, and there was a line 6 that told you what's your nationality. It could be Russian, Belarusian, Gypsy, Ukrainian, and Jewish. If your nationality was Jewish, you were treated as a second-class citizen. It was never in your face. There was this caste system. If you belonged to the high caste, would be like Russian, Ukrainian, you were treated one way. If you were Georgian or Jewish or Armenian, you were treated differently. So I always felt this anti-Semitism, kind of shades of anti-Semitism growing up in Russia. What I loved about living in the United States, that I forgot about that anti-Semitism exists. And then when Hamas massacred 1,500 Jews in Israel, what I thought I would see is this incredible support for Israel, country that basically suffered almost like 40 9/11s in one day. I thought you would see demonstrations supporting Israel. What we saw was the opposite. And that anti-Semitism that I thought basically did not exist in this country came out on the surface. When I look at this war in Israel today, it's a war against good and evil. You can have different thoughts about, settlements and what's going on there, but any way you look at it, Israel is a democracy that has a rule of law, that 15% of the population who live in Israel are Arabs, and Arabs have the same rights as Jews. At the same time, when you look at Hamas, the Islamic extremists, who have very different values. The most important thing, they don't value human life. Their version of Quran, when they kill an infidel, they get 2 for the price of 1 because they get to kill an infidel, plus when they go to heaven, they get 72 virgins. Over the last couple of decades, because we're trying to be politically correct, we started to say that all values are equal. Well, they aren't. The Hamas stands against the Western values. The Western values that value human life, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Okay? For Hamas, they tolerate all religions as long as you convert to Islam. So I look at this conflict today and I see 2 issues. I see that Israel is fighting for its survival. Israel is a tiny little democracy in the Middle East surrounded by a lot of countries that are not very friendly towards them. And the fact that the country still exists is a miracle. And I also see that the world, and you see this in the college campuses, and you still see this when you see the marches on the streets, how blatant anti-Semitism. The Jews are looked as oppressors, and Hamas looks like a freedom fighters. I always wonder, what would I do in 1938 in Germany when the Kristallnacht happened? I realized that this is what we have on our hands today. This is the Kristallnacht of this century. As a human being, I have to speak up, because if I don't speak up now, if I don't take a stand now, I would deserve whatever comes towards my way. So it is my responsibility to speak the truth, even though it may cost me clients, whatever. I want to look at my kids and basically feel like I've done everything I could to make sure they have a bright future. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more about life, classical music, philosophy, and investing, make sure to subscribe to my articles and visit investor.fm. Thank you.